Right. The deal is that the object on the left is the same volume as the object on the right. Is everybody cool with that? If you see a cone, you're not allowed to do it. As in, you're not meant to do it anymore. So, let's go and blank out the two of these. So, we're going to do the question on the left really quickly. Alright, which one do you have more information on? The one on the right. Leave it in terms of pi, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. So what happens when you multiply that out? Somebody multiply that part out for me. And what do you get? 576 pi. Now, see the one on the left? What do I have to write for that? Pi times 8 squared times h. And that, does everybody agree that's 64 pi times h? What can I do next? Pi's cancel. And then just divide 576 by 64. And what you get? 9. Have I done anything crazy there? Their volumes are the same. That's it. Right, that's the whole trick. Okay. So let's move on. Okay. Questions 4 and 6 are going to be. Questions 4 and 6 are the same trick. So you got it? So you should be alright with 4 and 6 later. Now let's start off with some of the harder ones. Yes. I'm going to do question 8. Okay? Huh?
Part 2 is like counts.
Oh, it's part 2 counts? No, I don't want that. Huh? 7 a cone as well? No good. 9? 9 a cone as well? Yeah, grand. 9. Alright. So, a cylinder of internal diameter 8 and height 18 is full of liquids. No bother. So, everybody cool with that? You get the gist, right? So what's the radius? Radius is 4. Height 18. Now, its liquid is poured into a second cylinder of diameter 12. Now, I don't know if anyone's ever noticed this when you have a glass of Coca-Cola or something like that. Do you know when you have a really tall glass? Does anybody ever get this before? Do you know when you have a really tall glass and you pour it into a really broad glass, what happens to the height of the water? Does anybody agree it shrinks? So let's imagine you have some water even, okay, and your water is filled to the brim. But then you pour all your water into your second container. What happens to the level of the water? But would you still agree it's still the same volume? Does that make sense? It's still a cylinder of water. Yeah? So, what I'm trying to get at here is that the volume in the first container, the volume of water in the first container is the same as the volume of water in the... Alright, so let's get the volume of water in the first container. So what's the volume of water in the first container? Pi r squared. And what's the radius? 4. So it's going to be pi times 4 squared times 18. Somebody really quickly. 16 multiplied by 18. So 16 by 18 will do me. What you get? Huh? 288. Now, what does that mean about the water in this container? It equals 288 pi. Do we know the water level? It's h, isn't it? What's the radius? The radius of the new one is 6, because the diameter is 12. So what do I need to do here? What shape is the water in? The water is in the shape of a cylinder. So what does that mean? pi r squared h equals 288 pi. Then what does that mean? Pi's cancel. What's the radius squared? 6 squared is? And then 288 divided by 36?
8.
We got 8, did we?
Yeah.
Everybody cool with that? Alright, let's keep going. Alright, I'll explain how to do 10, but I won't do it for you, okay? So, can anybody explain what happens when you throw the golf ball in? So you guys are going to be doing 4, 6, and 10 tonight. And I'll be getting you some other ones soon. Alright, can anybody tell me, what happens when the golf ball gets dropped in? The water level rises. Everybody cool with that? So, does everybody see the blue part? Everybody see the blue part? What shape is that blue part in? It's a cylinder of pi r squared h. That volume of water is equal to the volume of the sphere you just threw in. Does everybody get that? If I throw in a sphere of, let's say, 100 centimeters cubed, the water level will rise equivalent to an extra 100 centimeters cubed put in. So what do I say pi r squared h is? It'll be pi. What's the radius of the cylinder of water? 5. The height is the purpose of the question, isn't it? And what would that equal? What do we know about the sphere? Radius of 2, isn't it? So it'll be 4 over 3 pi times cubed. And you can get it that way. Alright? I'll let you do that one yourselves, right? So you're doing 4, 6, and 10 so far. Alrighty. You can also do 11. 4, 6, 10, 11. We can't do 12. Perfect. I need to do this question. Alright. Let's do this, okay? Alright. What formula am I using for 14 part 1? For 14 part 1, what formula am I using? Pi. Y. The cylinder. Let's get the... Now, what's the problem with the cylinder? Its length is in 30 meters. What's everything else measured in? So what would be a good idea? 30 meters into 3,000. Multiply it by 100. Centimeters, century, 100. Multiply it by 100. So, pi times radius squared is, what's the radius? No.
10.
Yep. Times 3,000. Somebody really quickly? I think it's going to be something like 3 million or 300,000. Yes. If you tip it over, that's height. That's length. 300,000 by centimeters cubed, right? We're going to melt this steel down and make a bunch of ball bearings of it. Do you got that? Well, we're going to find out the size of one ball bearing. What shape is the ball bearings? So, 4 over 3 pi r cubed, and what does that equal? Over 3 pi times radius is 2. Anybody got that answer for me? Pi, yeah. Centimeters cubed. Ball bearings of a different size are also produced. One steel rod makes 225,000 of these new ball bearings. Find the radius of the new ball bearings. Can anybody tell me, how do I find the volume? How do I find the volume of one ball bearing? Sorry?
The volume,
First of all, I'd use the volume of the cylinder because I can make 225,000 balls from this. So if I divide that by 225,000, what will that tell me? If I divide the volume of the cylinder by 225,000, what does that mean? That will be the size of one ball. 4/3 pi. Unfortunate question. Right? And Owen, you're correct. Why don't you use the formula for the sphere? Okay, what cancels on both sides? 4, 3, and the pi cancels as well. What do I get? R cubed equals 1. For argument's sake, what happens if you got R cubed equals 8? How would you finish off the question?
4.
What number, when you multiply it by itself 3 times, gives you 1? So what's the answer for R1? 1 centimeter. If it was R cubed equal 8, what button can you press to get this answer? Does anybody remember? It's not the square root. It's the cube root. Does everybody see the small 3? Any number you want. If I put in 125 in there, what would the answer be? 5. If I put 8 in here, what would the answer be? 2. Okay? So the answer for this question is 1. But if you finished off with R cubed equals 8, the answer would be 2. Alright, so can you guys try 15 as well? And 17. And